What if Ray-Ban made 3D glasses? Not like a VR headset or the spy glasses that they just made, but like the old school red and blue 3D glasses that were a staple of my youth. I'm gonna jump into Blender, build some Ray-Bans in 3D, we'll create a little animation, see if we can visualize what it would be like if Ray-Ban made 3D glasses. But first, what are 3D glasses and how do they work? Traditional 3D glasses have a white cardboard frame, a red lens for the left eye, and a blue lens for the right. The red and blue lenses work together to view something called an anaglyph, which is a stereoscopic image, meaning the same 2D image is projected from two different angles. One lens filters out all the red in the image, while the other filters out all the blue. Your brain then processes the two images together, making you see it in 3D. Wilhelm Rollmann is credited with the creation of the anaglyph in 1853. In 1922, the very first 3D film was released. It was a silent movie called The Power of Love, and it made an absolute splash in the theaters. 30 years after that, Mighty Mouse came out with the very first 3D comic.
Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse.
It's beautiful!
3D anaglyphs would go on to create epic cinematic adventures and new ways to experience media. But the real question is, how much cooler would everyone feel experiencing anaglyph images if Ray-Ban were making the glasses? Let's go to rayban.com. Every good 3D model starts with good reference images, and Ray-Ban has great reference images. I really like these Justin glasses. I feel like they're perfect for what we're going for. I feel like they have a classic, timeless shape. All right, we're gonna throw those into PureRef and just organize them a little bit. And now we're gonna search for some 3D glasses. Right here, these are exactly what I'm looking for. Just the classic red, white, and blue 3D glasses. So we'll screen capture that and look for one more. This like front on angle is perfect. So we'll drag those into PureRef and that's it. That's pretty much what we're making. This is a really simple mashup, but this just gives us a really good idea of what we're gonna make. Now we're jumping into Blender. We're gonna add in our reference images. Now we're gonna be blocking out the frames. So I'm just taking a plane and extruding it, just trying to get the general shape of the glasses. And now we're gonna add some shape to those frames because right now they're just flat. So we're gonna use a shrink wrap modifier and shrink wrap that to a plane with a little bit of curve shape to it. Now we're gonna give those lenses some depth. And time to block out the earpieces so they can stay on your face. I used proportional editing here to try to move around the vertices and get a little bit of shape to the earpieces, and it was just chaos.
Will you all stop moving around? So frustrating!
We are going to mirror the earpiece to the other side, so we have two of them, and bend the ends so that they conform to your noggin. Without nose pieces, glasses will just fall right off of your face. And without this cool little detail in the front, we wouldn't know that they are the Ray-Ban Justins. These earpieces were far too long. They were made for like the guy with the longest face in the world. So I shortened those up and narrowed them a bit for like a normal human face, and eventually ended up with something that I was happy with. Whew. What else would these earpieces pivot on if there was not a hinge attached to the main frame? So we're gonna model up a beautiful little hinge and add some loop cuts to tighten up those edges. Little circle for the screw to go in. And speaking of a screw, we need to make a screw itself. Now, don't judge me right here because I have no idea what I was thinking. I don't even know if I've ever seen a screw in my life that looks like this one, with like a divot around the place where the Phillips head goes. I don't know, just I'm taking some creative liberties here, and we're just gonna imagine that there was a screw that looked like this at one point, and Ray-Ban was like, yeah, I want that to be in my glasses. Now we're going to make the piece that attaches to the earpiece itself. The hinge is made up of two components, a piece that's connected to the main part of the frame, and the piece is connected to the earpiece, and they swivel on each other. FYI, in case you didn't know how a hinge worked. I spent also way too much time doing the hinge and really was not happy with the final result at all. it kind of came out like really flat and cheesy looking. So I spent a lot more time and beefed it up, and it's still not great, but it should work really well for this project, and you will hardly notice it. Well, you might notice it because you're staring directly at it, but the average person probably won't notice. Now it's time to make an earpiece controller. So I'm just adding in a spherical empty and parenting the earpiece components to that empty. So when I rotate it on the Z axis, it rotates everything on the pivot of the screw. Then I'll do the same thing to the other side. So now we have 2 working controllers for our earpieces, and they move. Now we're just parenting the other components to the main part of the frame so that that moves together. So when we animate it, everything moves correctly. Without the lenses, there's not a chance that these will be 3D glasses. You'd just be seeing normally. So we're gonna build some lenses. We're gonna block these things out, and we're gonna add in a sub D modifier so that we can see where this is all gonna go. Smooth all of this out, and we got lenses, baby. Looking good. We just need to add some depth to those lenses, make some minor adjustments, parent those to our main empty object, and we have a whole unit. Our product is modeled and ready for a logo that's missing. So we're gonna add in a Ray-Ban logo. The Ray-Ban logo has 2 components. There's like a back plate and then like a metal front plate to it. So I went into Illustrator and made 2 different components and exported them as an SVG, imported that SVG into Blender. And the cool thing about that is it imports as a curve object, and then you have these controllers for depth and bevel, and you don't have to model anything. You can just use your Illustrator file to create geometry, which is super cool. So I stacked those and put them in their own empty, which I didn't really need to do, but did it because why not? And now we're gonna stick those on the earpiece, and looking good. Duplicate that to the other side so we have the Ray-Ban logo on both sides. And look at that, we have a whole unit. Now we have all of our glasses. They're ready for materials. We're gonna start making these things look real. I like to start this process by roughly blocking out colors. Obviously the frames are not going to be blue, but if I make them white, then I can't see what I've labeled or not. Add a little bit of metal texture to this Ray-Ban. And for the lenses, I thought it'd be kind of cool actually if I added in like a little gradient map and gave it some transparency, kind of like an ombre effect on the lens. These glasses need some texture because nothing in the world, especially plastic, is just perfectly flat. That's too much texture, bro. You'll cut your finger right off adjusting your lenses on your face. So let's dial that way back. And now we have glasses that look pretty good, but to make something real and believable, we need to create labels. I feel like labels go a really long way in making something feel realistic. I love adding minor details. So we will save this off, import this into Blender, and unwrap our earpieces and put our graphics on there so they look realistic. And they're all over the main part of our frame, but it's easily fixable. We'll just unwrap it and move those UVs out of the way. Now we have glasses with labels. Ray-Bans would not be Ray-Bans without the Ray-Ban logo up in the top right corner of the right lens, the blue lens in this case. Looking good. I wanted to model up like some OG 3D glasses just to use maybe in the animation. I think it'd be pretty cool to do like a transition from the old glasses into the new glasses, maybe on like the opening frame. So I'm just modeling these up, adding some real simple textures, and those look good. The other thing that I thought would be rad in the animation would be if these glasses came with their own case, like their own Ray-Ban 3D glasses case. So I'm just modeling up a case for these things real quick, giving it a rudimentary hinge so that it can open and close. Just paying some homage to the originals with a little graphic on the front, and then just a little custom Ray-Ban 3D graphic inside of the microfiber lining on the inside. I think kind of polishes this off pretty good. And there we have it. We have a nice little glasses case. Well, everything's modeled and made, and I think we're ready for a product reveal. So here you go. I think that the answer to the question is that everyone would feel much cooler wearing these to the movies. And I definitely wish that these were a real thing. In fact, I had so much fun doing this project that I modeled another pair of Ray-Bans and turned them into 3D glasses. For this one, I chose a model called the Corrigan. This one's super cool because it has this transparent plastic with this metal frame in the earpiece that I thought would be super cool to visualize. So I modeled these up in Blender, and I didn't animate this version. I just created some still images, but I think that they turned out super rad. I think I almost like this better than the white frame ones, just because they're pretty unique. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.